send different feeds to different people. So I don't think it's like necessarily all the people in that society is like saying like they all have different, but just the corporates target them differently.
But like the difference is very small because the source, the resource, the information resource is limited. It's like that's. You think like how many people work in that company? Like 2,000? How can 2,000 people just manage the life of the whole America? That's insane. That's not possible.
But why would they even want to manage the people? Why would they even want to feed in the first place? Why does this feed even exist?
Yeah.
To do what? Like, what is the purpose of the feed?
I think want to make money, obviously.
I don't know, that's just a question I had, like, what it really is, like, what is the purpose? Why did they even...
You mentioned that if you're like super smart, you know, like you don't have to even try and study. So I guess maybe people got like caught into it and like they didn't realize they're actually being controlled, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then could it be like, you know how technology today is like advancing and we kind of go along with it, so is it something that they just got caught up in and didn't realize what was happening, or is it because, you know, that just one day somebody was like, we need feeds in our head, so we're going to put them in there, like, you know?
Yeah,
so
that's something like I thought.
Yeah, because technology advances, so like usually the population goes with the technology, so whatever technology, like our lives are built around it, so obviously if somebody comes up with an idea like, okay, well, it'll be easier for us to just put this computer in our head, then somebody will be like, okay, like, you know, and then people jump on the bandwagon and go with it. So that's how I feel.
Actually, this feed reminds me like long time ago I read an article about like later in the future, like they're all gonna put the chips on the people's bodies, so they have their own identification numbers. They even have their own, like they don't have to have credit cards or anything. They can just use it. Like so, it's kind of
like a easy convenience for people.
And is this related to the electronic tribe about the dystopia? Someday the technology brings us the society to collapse, like because of it's too advanced, and we have no choice but to plant the chips in our head.
And that's exactly like relates back to Violet. Like those people depend, like their lives depended on the feed, and so without it, there was no chance of survival. And even though she didn't want the feed, when she was, like she said she didn't want it, but then when the idea that she was about to malfunction came up, she was like, oh, let me get a new one, like, you know. So I mean, I guess like their lives depended on it, and like even though she was so against the feed, she still, when her life was on the line, she was like, oh, I need a new one, like let me get a new one. And she ended up not getting one, so then she realized that she was done, like, and I don't know, just.
No, but like the company actually like rejected her petition because they decided that she doesn't worth the investment. And do you think in modern society some people are getting rejected because people think they don't have the potentials?
Yeah, homeless people. Wow.
I think that like that whole process when they were talking about her not being able to get it and they rejected her, I think you can relate that to like insurance companies now. Like when you're a certain person and you go to get like a surgery or transplant or something, they reject you. Even though insurance companies are supposed to save your lives, you know, pay or whatever, be there to pay for, you're paying all this money for insurance, and then when you really need it, they turn you down. I think that it can relate to that, like today's society, like with the insurance companies and stuff.
But then like insurance, you don't get to pay your insurance, but like the fees, like, they need to get it, like all of them, right? So it's, I think, slightly different.
Well, no, I don't think so, because her dad talked about how he had to buy the feed, like he got it before when she was young, and he bought the one that wasn't like the most advanced. So like I guess that's like kind of, I don't know, insurance or something.
Yeah, but like it's still both one. Like insurance, if you don't have money, you can have insurance. It's not.
question I had was like in the break, it was like school TM and cloud TM.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think in the future everything will be like more like a capitalism society, like everything's owned by private companies?
No way. Chinese world. It's like, what I think is, they simply can. I believe that, like, people's power is much more greater than what we thought. It's like, few companies, they can't control us. It's insane. Like, government, they can't. Like, there are just few people working in here. They don't have, even they're like super smart, they're all from Stanford, from Berkeley, they can't control the whole population. How is that possible? They can't like just produce some product and control the population. I don't believe that. Like, cause like, people are strong. You know what I'm saying?
If they can't control them, why are we even worrying about like
So I don't
1984
worry.
society becoming true?
I don't worry about it. Yeah, I don't worry about it. Like, people are strong. Like, see how this society evolved. Like, people get more and more right because we communicate more, we see each other more, we have better communication tools, transportation tools. Like, we're building a more and more free, open society. So it's like people get their rights more and more. It's like, it's pretty common. It's like, yeah, like where the level of our education is become better and better. That's how we develop. I believe the great potential of human beings and all the people. Like, I don't think like some smart people can control the society. No way, they can't. They simply can't. They don't have the money and time to control us. How does that happen? Like, even CNN say something wrong or try to manipulate you, but if you are really smart people or intellectual people, you won't. It's like there are always people who can see the truth. There are always people who can, you know, it's simply not possible. I think this is just a scenario like just creating that and say, I'm warning you guys. Yeah, right? But, yeah. Yeah, that's why, because people like this is noticed, it might be some possibility and it's warning you, so we won't do that. That's why people like this as an intellectual author, why he exists.
It mentions in the book like the 75% of the demographic in the United States have feet, but what about the 25% who don't?
Yeah.
Probably those are producers. I mean, what they are CEOs.
Why
No,
did
I
and
think
then
they're just too poor. Yeah.
or but like oh true. Well, I mean, wouldn't you think that like if they wanted to have everybody have it, they'd make sure like if they wanted the control and the power that they said like we think they want, wouldn't you think that they would take over that 25% and make them get a feed or make sure that they had one if they were really trying to get total control?
So the ultimate goal for this is like only one person doesn't have feed, but all the rest.
I don't really think feed is to really control people. It's like more like a future like developed cell phone that's just implanted in people's body. So like basically even in modern society we can do a lot of things with their cell phone. Basically like almost everything what feed does, but it's just not in their body. Yeah, so.
But the fact that they can't live without the feed is something that like concerns me because if it was just more of something that you want to make your life easier, then why would you want something that if it malfunctions you're not going to be able to do anything? Like,
Yeah, it's like you're talking through cell phone. If you can only talk to your neighbor through your cell phone, that's scary. Like someone else, like if you can just use feed, it's like it becomes a really important part of your life. So like everybody, like if you don't use it, you can't communicate with other people.